Now, if Trump had been president over the past 10 days, a lot of people in the federal government would have been working a lot of nights and on the weekend to prepare for this hurricane.
That was Laura Ingraham doing the only thing her and the rest of the hosts at the Fox propaganda outlet know how to do. And that's jump to Donald Trump's defense after a disastrous day, which is exactly what he had today after the disgraceful political stunt that he pulled in Georgia. Because as many communities are reeling after this storm, Laura Ingraham and Fox, and of course Donald Trump, only care about the political gain they can get out of it. And that is why Laura Ingraham is lying, saying that the results of this storm wouldn't be so bad somehow if Donald Trump was president, saying that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have not done their jobs as leaders, which is just a lie. And remember when Donald Trump was president during a different crisis, COVID? He failed then. Remember Donald Trump's response to a different storm while he was president? Yeah, it was shooting paper towels into the crowd like he was a basketball player. So I don't want to hear any of this from Fox, but unfortunately, we did. Coming from Peter Doocy and the White House press briefing room today when he tried to push this same lie, but thank goodness, Karine Pierre, our incredible press secretary, was there to shut him down, and I want to get into that entire clip. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way in supporting the work we're doing. Now, Peter first asked a disingenuous question about immigration, then asked about the storm, but I want to play both clips in a row to hear Karine shut both of them down, so let's check it out.
Thank you, Karine. 13,000 people who have been convicted of murder crossed the border illegally and are living among us. So how much danger are U.S. communities in right now because of this?
I'm assuming you're talking about the ICE data?
Yes.
So just a couple of things, and I think it's important to correct the record here. First of all, the false representation of the data ICE shared. So that was what we are seeing, false representation. I got to call that out. We got to call that out. And it's been fact-checked by some of your colleagues here, by multiple outlets that has been debunked on what has been falsely misrepresented here. So we have to call that out. And so, look,
can you clarify what the misrepresentation is?
The numbers that is being put out about how many people are out has been falsely represented here. If you look at the total returns and removal of the past year, that has been higher than every year under the previous administration since 2010, if you look at it. And if we're going to report something, a data that's out there, we got to do it in a way that is not confusing the American people and certainly not lying. And so this has been fact-checked. And so this is the way that is being falsely represented here is just not okay. And though, got to be really clear about that.
On Helene, people in Western North Carolina were drowning in their houses this weekend. Others were losing everything. President Biden was at his beach house, and Vice President Harris was hosting political fundraisers on the West Coast. Is there a reason that they could not be here?
The president did exactly what a president in this moment needs to do, which is directing his team to take action. One of the reasons that the FEMA administrator was here in this room on Thursday is the president wanted to make sure that we were sending a message out to folks who were going to be impacted by the hurricane, and also wanted her to share how we were pre-positioning on the ground. Remember, these are folks who do this type of stuff. When you think about FEMA, you think about the Red Cross, you think about the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. This is what they do. This is what they do. And so the president was on the phone. He said this when he was asked a question by one of your colleagues for more than 2 hours yesterday with governors and local elected officials, making sure that they had what they needed. You heard me talk about Governor Kemp and what he said to the president himself. He said this and shared this in a press conference, that the president has provided and said, what else do you need? And he actually said to the president, we have what we need. So, and that's, as you know, a Republican governor. And look, and I talked about how the vice president also did her calls. She's going to be going to the FEMA agency and the center the center to get her briefing later this afternoon. The president is continuing to have these conversations with folks on the ground, elected officials on the ground, to make sure that they have what they need, and directing his team.
That is how it's done. I don't want to hear any more of the MAGA lies about how President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris have not properly responded to this storm. That is a joke of a lie. Brian Kemp today, a Republican governor, certainly no fan of Joe Biden or Kamala Harris, immediately dispelled with Donald Trump's false claim that Joe Biden hadn't called him. It's just BS. And the fact that MAGA continues to push this just shows how desperate they are. They're trying to use this tragedy to politically benefit them. It's just sad to see. It's gross, and that's why we need more people on Fox calling them out. But again, thank goodness for those who do shut down the lies of the Fox Propaganda Network. We have Karine Pierre. We also have Jessica Tarloff, who called out that other lie that Peter Doocy was pushing about immigration today, and I want to check that out.
He has moved over to demonizing immigrants, even legal ones like the Haitians, or taking the numbers that we were talking about on Friday, the number of, quote unquote, convicted murderers, rapists, et cetera, and saying this is all Biden and Harris's fault. And to the extent, to speak to its inaccuracy, the Department of Homeland Security had to release a statement saying that the ICE figures were being completely misinterpreted, saying the data includes individuals who entered the country over the past 40 years and also includes people that are in jail, not people who are out there roaming the streets. And that's obviously a key piece of information in this puzzle. And the American public is smart enough to know that the narrative that Donald Trump is putting forward does not accurately represent what's going on. It doesn't mean there aren't problems, but it does mean that they want more nuance than they're eating the cats, they're eating the dogs, get them out.
I couldn't find the counter numbers to what ICE had released, and I definitely looked for them. It doesn't matter.
The numbers are...
It does.
No, it doesn't.
It does.
Because on Friday, when we talked about this, the idea was that this was a Biden-Harris problem. No one said, except for me, I think, that this covers the entire timeline.
No,
that someone who entered
I said it
under
correlates with
H.W.
the
Bush.
I certainly don't want to take her away from her hour on the 5 because we need more Jessica Tarloff shutting down less Fox. I want to hear less Fox and more Jessica. But am I the only one who thinks Jessica Tarloff would make a great press secretary? Again, don't want to take her away from her job. But I think her and Karine both share some of the same great attributes that make them so incredible at what they do and shutting down those MAGA lies. Now, Fox, though, was not the only outlet, as we can expect. This is what the mainstream media does, that wanted to come to Donald Trump's defense today, and sadly so. And we saw CNN pushing the same narrative about how great Trump was for making his political stunt today in Georgia. And I want to play that and respond to it.
He is clearly taking this seriously as a politician, is on the ground trying to show that he is there in support of the people on the ground in Georgia. And of course, this comes as while he is, again, offering a message of unity. He has spent the last several days.
How much could this CNN anchor be getting paid from Donald Trump? I don't like to push conspiracies, but are you serious right now? You saying he's bringing unity by lying that the president isn't sending aid to Georgia or North Carolina or Florida? That's bringing unity? Really? What type of a joke is this reporting? It's just gross. Slamming Kamala Harris because she's not doing enough. Donald Trump is causing more trouble for those communities affected by this storm by being in their state. He's causing more problems. He's interrupting traffic. He's bringing in unneeded individuals of his campaign. He's causing more problems, all for a political stunt, because that's all he cares about. And this is all his lies, all of the nonsense of his campaign. It's not just losing him votes, of course, with Democrats who are not going to vote for him, independents who are leaning towards Kamala Harris, but Republicans as well are starting to move away from Donald Trump. And the Lincoln Project put together such a great ad about that. I want to check it out.
Remember him? We thought he was different. We had fun at his rallies. It was exciting. What happened? Now he can't make up his mind about big issues, moral issues like abortion.
Well, I think the 6 week is too short. I am going to be voting that we need more than 6 weeks.
The next day, he flip-flopped.
So I'll be voting no.
For years, he said he really won the 2020 election.
Frankly, we did win this election.
Then he finally admitted he lied.
Lost by a whisker.
On Bitcoin.
Do you have a dabble in Bitcoin?
I don't. I think the others are potentially a disaster waiting to happen.
Then Bitcoin tycoons contributed to his campaign.
The United States will be the crypto capital of the planet, and we'll get it done.
You know what happened to our guy? That guy we liked? After running for office for a decade, he became just another politician. It's sad.
He has always been a liar, a con man. This is who he is. But now more than ever, we can see it. And funny enough, now more than ever, MAGA can see it because they know they're the ones getting conned. Now, of course, MAGA has always been the one getting conned, but when Donald Trump is trying to sell you an $100,000 watch, I think it becomes a little bit clear that that you're the one who's getting taken for a ride here. And hopefully we see enough Republicans, not just for the sake of winning this election, but for the sake of bringing our country together, realize what a scam supporting Donald Trump is. And we're going to keep talking about that every single day on this show. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button and leave a like on this video. And if you stuck around to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.